Hello, hello, and welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. This Mind, Body, Soul Mastery podcast is a place where we explore what it means to really live with intention, to lead from the heart, and to walk through life with deeper connection to mind, body, and soul. I totally believe that that's our whole purpose here on this earth is to evolve our soul, and mind, body, soul alignment helps us walk towards that purpose with intention. So, in this podcast, whether I'm sitting down with a guest or just sharing what I'm learning in real time, my hope is that you'll hear something that invites you back to yourself. So, take a deep breath and let's drop in to today's conversation. I'm here today with Elaine Yuen. She's here to talk about her pivotal moment that shifted everything and led her down a path, a dark night of the soul, really.
Mhm.
Maybe you've had one. I know I've had a few. But that dark night of the soul really helped heal her inner child, reclaimed her confidence, took back her power, and stepped into her authenticity. Elaine is an intuitive confidence coach who helps overachievers to heal and rebuild confidence so that they can shift from survival to thriving. Elaine, welcome to the show.
Brenda, thanks for having me. I'm
It
most
is a
honored.
pleasure. Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure having you. And our listeners know we just dive in. There's no shallow talk here. No
Mhm.
get. We've already done our get to know yous, but we just dive into that pivotal moment in your life that shifted something so deeply within you that your life had to change. So, can you take us back there to that, Elaine, and tell us a little bit about what was going on?
Mhm. I was going to say, Brenda, I'm not good at small talk, so thank you for letting me dive in. That's totally my style. My pivotal moment would be at the start of COVID, where I had a profound spiritual awakening. But for the audience purpose, I like to take it a little bit back to my childhood. So, and that's major for me because that's the whole life story about from surviving,
Mm,
you're shifting from surviving to thriving. So when I was a child, my mom brought me to the cinema and watched a very famous movie. And it's based on a famous novel. And I'm going to tell you guys the name, and for sure you will know Oliver Twist,
mm,
right? So for the audience who may be never exposed to the novel or the movie, Oliver Twist is an abandoned child. It's a really sad movie because he's in the bottom level of the social hierarchy and suffering and then abandoned by his mom. Obviously went through a very tough journey and he has to wander in the streets being bullied and being in the orphanage and their gangs controlling the orphanage, so it's all about oppression and all of it, has the image of like a poor, sad child that always suffer, always get the short end of the stick. And the famous phrase for that movie, Oliver Twist, ask for more. So that's a major scene of the movie because you know, a group of peers kind of bully him into drawing. He has to actually take up the bowl, and that's the famous scene of the movie to, to whoever controlling the orphanage and ask for more, and he got chased down. So that kind of unfilled my life journey after my spiritual awakening, and I reroute back to that scene. So that's major significance on my life journey. Um, so fast forward at the start of COVID, I had my spiritual awakening. Funny thing is, at that period, that's my old self up to that period. And then the profound
mm-hmm,
spiritual awakening totally, we call it in a spiritual community, ego death, or,
mm-hmm,
the breaking down of your old self. I have a short encounter with an individual. So after that short encounter, um, my spiritual awakening, so we have a short encounter and we separated. And then I had, this profound spiritual awakening kick off. So to
mm-hmm.
the people who are in a spiritual community, this is nothing new. Based on what I said, you know that I'm on a twin flame journey. So for the audience who don't know what is a twin flame journey, it's basically one soul reincarnated twice. And then, so the same soul in two human being bodies. So I got the privilege of kind of, uh, experience myself in another human body. It's kind of like a
Mm.
very drama experience. But I think for today purpose, I'm not going to talk about the whole because there's, we can have another episode talking about it.
Oh yeah, that's a whole conversation.
you know, you know. So, and there's a lot of different like concepts about it. But the whole point about the twin flame journey, majorly, uh, what I can bring out is lots of spiritual wisdoms, lots of like healing of the inner child, looking at your shadow, and two major thing is like self-love and I being the divine feminine of that twin flame. So that's a major thing that I'm bringing on to the people that
Mm.
I help. Because as you have mentioned, um, the niche and people that I'm helping out there, overachievers, overgivers just like me. And they are definitely in their overly masculine energy. In the
Mm.
corporate world, we have to, wear a shelf, we have to compete with the guys, we have to be tough. So that's one of the major things that I help them out to help them tap back into the divine feminine. So, I mean, related to the theme of, body, mind, and soul, that's where we need to reconnect back to
Mm.
ourselves, right? And just be
Yeah.
like, um, so we're good with that, right, Brenda? Do you have any question? I can go on and on. Just
No,
make sure
no.
everybody's catching the story at this time, but feel
I
free to ask
do
me any
want,
question.
yeah, I do want you to, because I think I'm missing the piece of how the Oliver Twist story of Oliver Twist as a child, how that impacted your spiritual awakening. I need the context there,
Right.
please.
So that's right now what I'm getting to it.
Okay,
So,
okay.
okay. So I think I can just I don't want to overwhelm the audience, but two major things after the spiritual awakening that the identity that I carried has fallen apart. So first of all,
Mm.
my professional identity, right? So how I show up in work, I overwork, I overachieved. I used to be the favorite employee for um, a boss that I work closely with. And now looking back, it's pretty like codependent relationship. And having a after you healed and now you look back on being an overachiever, the underlying intention is to seek validation at work,
Mm.
right? So that ties into all of the choice because the survival, the
Okay.
struggling, right? And then major thing that I think it's one of the things we can discuss later is major abandonment wound that I'm suffering. But that's the professional front. So that's the major thing happened after my spiritual awakening. My career had a major setback. And before that, my identity is my professional identity,
Sure, sure.
right?
Yet when you say the abandonment, that's a theme that you connect with Oliver Twist in today, but that abandonment on your personal self, but it does affect your professional self, right? Right. And
Because you're
so,
you're self-neglecting yourself and then, try to
yeah,
seek for validation and obviously neglecting your own well-being, self-love priority, and then neglecting what you should be doing. You understand you have a life, after after you log off, you have a life
right.
and also your loved ones as well. But I think what the missing piece that I can introduce right now, and that's a very vulnerable area with me, is I'm going to talk about my personal family. And Brenda, this is the first time I'm sharing with a public audience settings that I was not comfortable before sharing it, but this is the time because I have to step out of my comfort zone. And I think a lot of families and people who experience the same suffering as me need to hear this message. So I'm gonna go dive right into it. Is after my awakening, my private self is, and a lot of people have similar awakenings. They have the same process as well. Is it's unavoidable. You will look at, oh, apparently I learned about all the childhood trauma and you know uh, go back, source back to understanding what happened during childhood, why I grow up to be such a person and behave that way. And then I realized that I was in a dysfunctional family.
Mm,
So so I'm dealing with one of the parents who has heavy narcissistic tendencies, and another parent who is a major survivor. So, right. So what means my survive? I mean, Brenda, for the audience purposes, um, to make it easy to understand is in layman terms is you're operating in fear, right?
mm,
Um, Obviously you think you have to survive in a way that you have to seek approval, let's say from and due to some unhealed patterns or childhood drama, you have to seek the validation or love from mostly like if they have a childhood issue, they grow
yeah,
up, then you will seek
yeah,
that unconditional love that you never received from, your partner. In a
yeah,
career settings will
yeah,
be, right, your boss, and then in a friendship circle, that will be your friends.
yeah.
Um, so I realized that those childhood trauma, I was under kind of a narcissistic abuse situation. Um, and then one of the parents kind of, it's a survivor, it's emotionally unavailable. And I think that's very common to a lot of families, and especially where I grew up in the Asian part of family, people don't talk about emotions. Uh, you were told to just,
Western culture too, I'm going to say, not just Asian culture. I'm going to say Western culture too. So if you're in the 40s and above, you didn't probably have family that talked about their emotions.
well, I think you guys a little bit better. There's more, yes, and
I think now,
now, yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Um, but in Asia, it's the conditioning. It's really heavy. Because
yeah,
obviously, because I think the difference is you guys more viewed as an individual entity. Like you're allowed it. Like the parents will support the kids, right? They will support at the time, maybe finish high school, and then okay, you can go and look for a part-time job, and you finance your own university degree, right? So at that point, it's almost like a distinguished point that you become like an adult and you're on your own.
kind of, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right. Uh, in the Asian part of back then, my generation, it's not like the parents will sometimes even pay for your post-secondary or university education, right? But even you're like my age right now, middle age or something like that, they're still perceiving you as the kid in their eyes.
mm,
Um, and a lot of the situation in the Asian family, the children are kind of the extension of the parents, right? And I guess not every family like that. I cannot generalize that, but a lot of families are like that. They're perceived
yeah,
because they,
yeah,
the children are perceived something like a safety net. Maybe, when
yeah,
they grow old and the children are supposed to take it up. And when you're in a dysfunctional family, so one of the things is not only I'm in dysfunctional family, I'm the black sheep and scapegoat of the family.
mm,
And so it's very tough. Like all this are kind of revealing to me after awakening, right? Because the great universe basically unfeeling what I have shuffled under the carpet for years.
yes,
So now I healed. When I look back, it was very unhealthy. But
hmm,
when I was in there at that time, it was very normal. I thought this is every normal family
right,
operate like
because we
that.
didn't know any better. I
No.
mean, we didn't know any better. I mean, in my spiritual journey too, I've had to look back at my family and see the dysfunction that's there.
Hmm.
And that was, you know, sometimes that's like that is a dark night of the
Hmm.
soul when you face the reality of what you thought was versus what it really is, right?
I hear you. When so my spiritual awakening, I went right into that night of the soul. I lost 10 pounds at that time. So on the outside looks like a depression. Uh, but I tend to want to see things on the positive side is, hey, I don't have to work out and automatically lost 10 pounds. But yeah, you and I know, and everybody who went through the dark night of the soul know that it wasn't some pleasant experience. You basically I can say it. You actually went to the hell and come back onto the earth after the healing.
Yes. Yes.
You walk
Yes.
through the fires and you
Yes.
face the deepest, darkest truth that you have been denying for the whole life. Um, yeah, so tying back to that black sheep scapegoat. So one of the things related to our podcast today, I know Brenda, it's a big advocate of like speaking from your mind, authenticity, right? Our voice speaking out. So I grew up in an environment that I've been constantly silenced, and because I'm the one actually, every child, it's like that, right? Before they got conditioned, programmed by the
Yeah.
society parents, they are a pure soul, a pure heart, innocence,
Yeah.
and they speak things from their heart. And when they bring up, they're just innocent, right? Just telling the truth. But when you're in a dysfunctional family, telling the truth, it's something prohibited because you point
Yeah.
you point out something that someone in the family doesn't like to hear, that you
Yeah.
you trigger people's feeling. So how the dysfunctional family work usually have I think that maybe a targeted individual was told to be silenced so that we can keep the peace and the illusion or the image of the family. And and I think at that time, since then, I start, because you tried enough, you're walking on the eggshell, you don't know, sometimes you're saying the right things. And after speaking out, you're treated like you're like an outcast, or, why are you bringing this up? Is just,
Yeah.
making everybody unhappy. So over
Or
time,
uncomfortable.
yeah, like
Or
why
uncomfortable.
did you bring it up? Like it's not the truth, right? Some kind of gaslighting as well.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So over time, you learn to silence yourself and not speak your truth anymore. And then I think the programming starts there. It's you start molding yourself into whatever people put you in a box, be
Yeah.
it your family, and then work, and then the
Yeah.
society as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, and two, yeah, I just want to acknowledge, like, as you're going through your dark night of the soul and this spiritual journey, as you're going through it, you still are showing up in the corporate world as your professional self doing your job, right? And it's a lot. I just want to acknowledge that. I've been there. I had to do it too.
Hmm.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So what were you noticing in your body around this spiritual awakening time? Like what was your body telling you? What were you noticing? Were you aware?
So one major thing is before awakening, as I said to my clients and or people I share my spiritual journey, is was totally disconnected from the body.
Mm,
Because you're numbing, and different
yes.
people have different ways of numbing the work. And I realized that by me overworking, it's a numbing.
Hmm.
So you just work, sit all day, and neglected your routine. You have to move your body and let the energy flow. You forgot to breathe, and it's just work, and then sleep, and then kind of unhealthy too, right? You're looking for the highs, and then so you work hard on the weekdays, and then oh yeah, everybody say, thanks God it's Friday. We're looking forward to the weekend, and then weekend you engage in some other unhealthy activities such as like occasional drinking, um, or just rest. Um, so the body was definitely disconnected at that point, and now that I've healed my journey, I think. So Brenda, for your information, body, mind, and so my desktop has my vision board, have the body, mind, and I've attached activities to around that three areas. And body is my last
Nice.
last stop of my journey. Because I don't know what you think, Brenda, but if you would agree, I think personally, some people may not agree, but personally, I think a lot of body symptoms is actually a manifestation of it's a physical manifestation of any unmet emotional needs. So if you haven't dealt with your emotional world, lots of like sickness or disease actually manifested outwards. That
I
could,
agree. I
prevent
agree.
it, right? I think there definitely a tie on it, and And then my body healing, it's like the last part of it. So I think
S-
I'm picking up on the body part, but my first journey is go deep into the soul and then the mind. I'm good. So that's my specialty. That's what I help my clients are. But the body part, yeah, I love to work with a body coach or people who have experience. Because last year when I was in Hong Kong, it was a very short period of time, and I actually joined a workshop by another body healer there, and she was really good. And we did some body exercise because she actually combined qigong and meditation.
mm-hmm.
That's her
Mm,
thing, right? But it's good. And surprisingly, out of that workshop, I we did some chanting in a group. It's
mm-hmm.
very powerful. And I thought, oh, I kind of maybe my ego self coming. I have done a lot more healing. I'm a coach and probably better than the people in the group. But it's actually when we chant a lot, then like realize I still have certain part of myself suppressing. And then I burst
Yeah.
crying in front of the whole group. But it kind of helped the coordinator because I'm the first one leading to allow myself to express emotion and then the group kind of open
Yeah.
up. Yeah, but
Yeah.
then yeah. So I think one of the tips to share with the audience is if you have a problem of speaking up, I think chanting would be a good exercise or singing or
But
something with voice.
I think that's the beautiful part about the body and the healing is that the body has to let out and get out what it's suppressing. So you've got to find the way that works for you.
Hmm.
I have a very similar path as you in some ways. Mind and soul were very easy for me to get on board and get in alignment. And
Hmm.
I'm like you, my journey right now is the body
Right.
and giving my body permission to let go of all that it's holding, the trauma, the grief, all that it's holding, and learning to love it, love this vessel I've chosen with the grace and the compassion that I didn't get as a child growing up. This emotional unavailability, these
Hmm.
unmet needs, right? And again, like you suppress, right? So
Right.
the body finding the tool that allows or the tools that allows your body to truly let go is the most beautiful thing. Even though you feel embarrassed and humiliated, you just got to just lean into it and accept it because that expression is what your body needs in order to heal and let go.
Right. Because I definitely agree. Because body, it's like a very good signal to you that there's
Yes.
unaddressed emotion somewhere. And when we get busy, and I think there's no excuse for the one that we have done a lot of healing work. We have to
Yeah.
because we have self-aware right now, right? Like if we get say for the audience, if they're like overachievers, whatever, like even just when you're so busy, you're so tense up, just a little exercise, Brenda, we did it together just before this podcast, just some, a couple of minutes deep breathing and just go into your body. It helps a lot. So
Yeah.
that's one of the major thing I advocate because I think the body part is very challenging in a sense that how you can manage it with your day-to-day stuff. We're so
Yeah.
busy,
Yeah.
nobody has time to work out like 2 hours or something like that. So I think one of
But I'm
the
going to challenge that and say, because maybe the body doesn't need, if you're an overachiever
Mhm.
and you're in the daily grind all the time and do, go, trying to, your body might not need a 2 hour workout. Your body might simply need rest. Your body might benefit most from a somatic practice of just laying on the floor
Mhm.
and just being, right? And so, but that's the beauty of you have to find what's right for you and not listen to the noise of the world.
Right. That's true too. Because I think I resonate 100% with that because I had a hard time showing up for my physical exercise. So
Yeah,
I got to find something that works for me. And lately, what I find is I took quite once in a while spiritual bath in that way. And I love doing that. So that's one of the major thing, like, you're not doing something you hate and it's easy to
right,
do. I
right.
can I can save time because it's my shower time. And then when I'm doing my spiritual bath, I can talk to my body. I actually
Hmm.
talk to my body and embrace different part of my bodies and telling them I love you, give it
Oh,
some
it's
loving
beautiful.
energy. And I actually confess to. I actually say sorry to them. I said, I'm so sorry. I may have overstressed you and overworked you, but I
Yeah.
promise I love you and you are and thank
Yeah.
you for carrying my soul. So that's part of my ritual as well. And you can meditate. So this really worked for me. But as you suggested, it's really different people have different preference. Some people like to go to the gym and some people just don't
Yeah.
like move around, right? But I think the whole
Yeah.
idea is for the body, there needs to be some kind of flow of energy, right? So for
Hmm.
the,
Hmm.
in a spiritual world, you call it the chakra, or in,
Yep.
in the other practice, qigong, the flow, the qi, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so yeah,
Yep.
definitely we're on the same page on that for sure.
Yep. So I'm curious what your soul was guiding you through this process. You said it started COVID, so you're 5 years into your journey. So how's your soul been guiding you?
So I think I just want to bring back a little bit about my father and mother, just rewind it a little bit so the audience can have a complete picture of why I'm dealing with abandonment wound. So and and after COVID, and this is very personal as well. I'm sure my my family wouldn't be very delighted to hear that if they if they happen to watch your episode. So I actually found out my dad is an abandoned kid that I didn't know
Mm,
from for all through my life, and then my brother kind of casually, don't you know? It's like something like really casual. I'm like, I didn't know, nobody tell me. And then I also trace back to my mom's side of because when I deal with my mom, there's a lot of fear involved. So I would want to ask the question, why am I dealing so much fear? Why is my mom always operating in fear? So and then it kind of clicked. That's the define actually give me the right time, right place for me to understand the event. So when I was young, our school told us to do a quick uh, discussion with our grandparents and they want to talk
mm,
about World War II, the experience, and
yep.
write a book report on that. And at that time, I had this little cozy discussion with my grandma, and she told me that actually because my mom is the eldest child, so she told me that at that time it was World War II, Japan was bombarding whatever, like in Hong Kong or China it was, and she's always running in fear for her life. And she has to
Mm,
actually hide in those like underground area to avoid the bomb. Um, So, because I talked to my mom a little bit. There's some other events, right? But I think that's a major event is actually your parents can't, or yourself, when you are in the womb of your parents,
yes.
the emotion of the parents
We call
affecting the child,
this
and the fear,
generational trauma.
yeah,
Yes.
the fear it's already start before that person was born.
Yes. Yes.
So yeah, I guess a little bit for I don't have kids, but right, but some for some parents that they're carrying, they're thinking about having children, that to be mindful
Yes.
of their emotions because it's not there already.
Yeah.
So yeah, so going back to your question, remind me of the question, Brenda. That's the
What was your soul guiding you
yeah.
through
So
this in the last 5 years?
yeah, so it's actually the spiritual journey is unfolding, right? Unfolding, unfolding. And then as you work on your consciousness, then you're going to see things in a different perspective. So I have a lot of unraveling. I find out that, oh, I'm an old soul starseed, all the spiritual terms. And actually, I had a mission. But, some people have a mission, some people have a calling, right?
Hmm.
So that's my guidance is one of the big messages. I didn't suffer for no reason.
Mm,
Our pain is our power, right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, so that's the soul contract that I sign up. After I heal this, right? You're like kind of
Yeah.
letting go and thinking, oh, okay, I went through this experience, and that's my calling. It's to help people in the same experience, and yeah. So in this way, I think from my undervalued self in the past to up to today, I think one of the major point for the people that I'm helping, and if they're suffering the same issue with me, that they feel like neglected, underestimated, overlooked at work or in
Mm,
life,
mm,
it's and that's the major thing I'm helping people is to realize your own value.
And
Right.
you felt that. You felt that in your personal life, and you've felt that in your professional life, right?
For
So
sure.
it's
Yeah.
carried through.
Yep. And there's and Brenda, I think you understand because you underwent a very similar journey. There's no separation. Your
Right.
professional self
Right.
reflected the basis of your private self, right? So, and that's why that's how I operate kind of differently from because the area that I'm helping like women leaders overcoming these challenges. There's a lot of career coach out there. They may teach you how to, work with leadership and how, on an external focus, right? But my focus is go internal because it doesn't
Mm,
matter what you do on the outside because it's all external based. You have to upgrade your software inside. And that's
absolutely.
that's the key point, right? Whether
Yeah.
we're showing up as an entrepreneur or actually for you have a corporate job, um, and that's one of my major calling. It's just, performance doesn't get you anywhere. I have
Yeah.
seen countless cases that people working hard, talented individual. I mean, if the corporate has to let you go, a business strategic point, they have to let you go. It's never
Yeah.
about how much you do. And that's
Yeah.
where the divine feminine energy come in, is know your value.
Yeah.
And then not try to prove your value, but you know your value, and doesn't matter how external environments beating you down, no matter how people neglecting you, telling you are nobody, you have to first initiate that process of believing in yourself, know your value, and then you have to work on your mindset and deep down your soul belief this is
Mm,
because we are all born to be valuable.
yes.
And then since we were born, we were told you are not good enough, you're not deserving. And when you maintain that high vibration, you work up to the state you're on the abundance frequency. You start believing value and you stop waiting for people to give you opportunities, chances. You stop waiting for people to acknowledge your value because you unshakable confidence in your own value.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, divine will co-create with you, right? But you have to show up first because you are not giving any space for the universe to because the universe always bring back a test and results to see do you really believe in yourself, and you have to show up that vibration that I don't care what people tell me, I'm nobody, I'm an underdog. I'm going to show up as this high valuable person, and then you will leave universe with no choice and bring you whatever
Yeah.
that you believe in yourself as a high value
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Elaine, what would you say your biggest learning about yourself has been?
My biggest learning. I think at this point, um, I think I'm a beautiful person and I deserve the
You
best.
think? You think or you know?
Oh, I'm beautiful. Okay, let's do affirmations. At this point, yeah, I am a very beautiful person, and I think along the journey of the hard time, it's hard because I've been subject to a lot of narcissistic abuse. So
Hmm.
at my journey at this point, I actually walk I walk away from my family. I walk away from a lot of my friends group.
Mm,
And I kind of, I'm showing up at work, yeah, as it should, but there's a lot of let go, um, because in the reality, because I was programmed to think I'm not beautiful, I'm probably an ugly or a bad person. Because one of the repeated theme for me, just like all of the choices, you always being categorized as the villain, as the bad person, because people
mm,
project on you. So I got all this shame and hate dumping on me, and I have a lot of self-hate that I have to work through, right? So at this point, I think I'm undividedly believe that I'm a beautiful person. I deserve the best, and just you have to detach from the external environment because it's just people dealing with their pain and hurt, and they project it on you,
yeah.
and just not to personalize it and internalize it. It has nothing to
Yeah.
do with me, right? But it
Well,
would be
that's the
hard.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So when life, because life keeps happening,
Mhm.
Hell on earth happens again. How do you how do you call on the strength and insight now? Like, and how do you use that?
Mm, Now, for myself, I think
Yep.
different person have different anchor or leverage. For me, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. I'm very grateful because the when you have to make a change in life, there's a lot of things and people try to hold you back. So for me, my journey is helping people to become high value. So if you believe you're high value, you're not letting people hitting you emotionally when they try to tell you otherwise, right?
Mm,
And if someone could not appreciate your value, they couldn't see your value, just let them go and find the one that could see your value. So, find a like-minded communities or people that are willing to change, they want to be a better person and they can see you for who you are. So unfortunately, a lot
yeah.
of the struggles, I think people need to hear the message. Unfortunately, a lot of people are dealing with the closest one that you love and trust are actually the one who couldn't see you for who you are and your value. They just, I guess they just want to control you to, because they
Yeah.
they didn't do the work yet. So yeah, so you got to see your own value and take it from there, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm.
Thank you. This is Elaine, this has been such an honest conversation, and I so appreciate you coming on and just showing up as authentically you. It's a beautiful, I mean, I've intentionally created this space for that purpose to help bring out, through our stories and our struggles, the hope and the inspiration that life doesn't have to stay the way. We can change and we can grow and we can evolve our soul. And
I
so
just want
thank
to say,
you.
Brenda, kudo to you because we need more spaces for authentic conversation. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
maybe a lot of audience right now listening, they're not able to have that authentic, deep conversation for our soul
Yeah.
with the family, with the friends, and
Right.
especially in a corporate environment. So we definitely need more, and I think your mission has a big thing because it's to create that authentic space that we can be ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Seen and heard, all those things. All
right.
those things, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So think connect with your soul and we're talking about being feeling unseen or unheard. We have to first hear ourselves first. And that's the importance of
Yes.
something you
Yes.
and I totally believe in is to go within with your
Yep.
soul, see yourself, hear yourself, then the people who are willing to see you and hear you will come into place, right?
Yeah.
But it's a journey. Um, and the spiritual journey, it's a lot about embodying the wisdom, right? So it's not like we can just listen to a podcast. You got to do the work, right? It's not just read a book,
Yes.
right? It's not through the mind,
Yes.
but it is deep soul work. Brenda, you and I understand. And it's not
Yep.
going to be, rainbow and sunshine all the time. But you and I know that once you're able to face that, the deepest part of yourself you don't want to see or if too fearful to face, coming out from that, the other side of the breach is the rainbow, right?
Yeah.
But we have to go through that first. So,
Yep.
yep,
Completely agree. Elaine, thank you so much for showing up with such openness and presence.
you're welcome, Brenda.
And to our listening friends, if this conversation stirred something within you, if you resonated, I invite you to take a moment and just hand on your heart, pause and reflect. What is this conversation reminding me of? What is this stirring up? What do I need to look at deeper? And then go journal about it or go share it with a friend. But don't let the opportunity to pass you by to look a little deeper at what your body is trying to tell you if something's been stirred. So you can find all the links to Elaine and the work that she does in the show notes. And so, friends, until next time, keep leaning into your truth and honoring your journey. This is Brenda Stott Tomlinson, the Mind, Body, Soul Mastery Podcast.